Hello, everyone. It's the Alt-Right Ultras live podcast with myself and Kevin Wu from the group. And as I've been very bereft, very slack on giving you content recently due to the very topical Facebook bans that we've all been getting, I thought I'd come and just sort of do it vaguely live and have a look at things. I'm afraid we don't have a live chat for one reason, due to my own incompetence in being unable to organize the live chat and press the right buttons. And as a second reason, I rather thought it'd be in the spirit of things for you to chase me round. We'll be looking at my Twitter and at the group. So if you particularly want to ask us anything while we're on air live, then probably post it on either of those places, on Alt-Right Ultras on Facebook or on my Twitter profile, which is dedicated to Alt-Right Ultras at the moment and can be accessed at Davis Ian Zero, if you're so willing to do that. So we're just going to leap right in with a screen share and have a look at what's going on in Alt-Right Ultras. Here, got Kevin here with me tonight. I better get that off the screen and get something more relevant up. How's you, fella?
I'm fine.
Can you? You're fine. Good. Can you see the screen share? Okay.
Yeah, no, I can see it.
Yeah. Cool. That's fair enough. Then hopefully everyone at home, all the listeners, will be able to see it too. Where would you like to leap in this week? Do you want to talk about Avalian first, or
Yeah,
go
let's start
down
with
to
that.
where we would? Okay, we'll start off with that. Well, what's happened over the last couple of weeks or so, couple of months? Evalian, this young podcaster, Evalian88 on Twitter, who's a confirmed NatSoc, a National Socialist. She's been making some very NatSoc podcasts. I'm sure everyone in the alt-right knows exactly what kind of thing to expect and has probably heard of her. And it's kind of gone wrong because renowned YouTube cuck Onison has discovered of her activities and he's set his followers after her, as is usual for him. He's done that before. I believe he must have complained. He certainly asked people to complain to YouTube. To an extent, if you're in Germany, you probably cannot see any of her videos. Anyway, he set his quite large fan base on her. And so a lot of people have been complaining. Just today, Ralph Retort uh, has printed an article by a chap called Feminist Flow, or Feminist Period, as some know him, who's also a YouTuber of middling renown, a good guy, and he seemed quite annoyed by this, as this was a jumping on our free speech, and b kind of bullying for someone like Onison with so much power against a tiny little YouTuber who everyone would kick around anyway for her ideas. To sort of him to say, right, wipe this person off the face of the internet and that kind of thing is exactly the kind of fascism he claims to be against, I would expect. Maybe he isn't. Maybe he claims authoritarian is the way. Um, I'll chuck the floor open to you, really, Kevin. How have you been feeling about this? Hmm?
Right, sorry. Yeah,
Sorry.
I was actually wasn't expecting you to go. Anyway, so
Okay.
so basically, what Onision's been doing is just hypocrisy in action, really. I mean, they claim to be against brigading, raiding, harassing women, whatever, and here we are. We have an 18-year-old Canadian girl, this woman,
Mm.
right, who is speaking her mind on YouTube, who's doing her thing, and who's I mean, I frankly, like, this is just my personal opinion. I don't think she's 100% like, you could see in her videos that she's kind of doing this
Mm.
all tongue in cheek anyways. So she's not even like a hardcore like I don't believe for one second that she's as serious as people are claiming she is. Like,
Mm.
I don't think it's purely attention. I think she's just having a laugh. So, you have this girl who's just having fun, who's just doing her thing, right? And then you
Yeah.
have Anissian, this supposed paragon of virtue, right? Actively getting his subscribers to run raids, to brigade, to harass, to do everything in their power, basically, to ruin this girl's life. And, you know, So the same thing that they complained about what us doing, which we almost never do.
Yeah.
The same thing they accuse us of doing, they do themselves in public, in the open, and with the support of the sort of
Mm.
mainstream narrative, right? So you have
Yeah.
these people who are complete hypocrites, who are
Yeah.
complete liars, who are using and abusing their power to do evil, basically, and to virtue signal all the while. I mean, they're thumping
Mm.
their chest, saying how brave and noble and honest they are. This girl has like what, less than 100,000 subscribers. You know, she's not a big operation. She's not going to the UN. She's not going to the UN and complaining about things. These people are, right. So
Mm.
these people are just straight up, just completely ignoring the principles they claim to have in order to beat their
Mm.
chest and attack this girl. You know, her pet recently died. You know, she's very open, she's very vulnerable, right? Like you read her Twitter feed,
Mm.
she's just a normal girl, right? And you have these people who are being complete assholes to her in the name of some abstract thing, right? You have Anissian,
Mm.
right, who's a complete unbearable human being who's
Yes.
proud of being who's proud of being an unbearable human being. He's very
Yes.
open about how much of a shitty person he is, and then he has the temerity to claim that he has some sort of moral high ground over a girl who makes YouTube videos for fun, right? So I mean, this is just classic leftist hypocrisy in action, and I'm glad that it's being brought to the forefront because, quite frankly, it doesn't matter who it happened to. In the long run, a Valiant doesn't really matter in all this. You know, yeah, it matters for her right now what's going on, but in the bigger picture of things, a Valiant doesn't matter because they'll do this to
No.
anybody. They'll do this to someone they even claim to fucking love, right? So it's perfect, really. It's perfect to see just how blatant and open they are about how willing they are to sacrifice what they stand for,
Oh yeah.
apparently.
They're like the bloody Maoist Red Army or whatever, or the Red Brigade of students or whatever. It really is a cultural jihad. And oh, there's his floppy evil face. Uh, I, he's got
I know.
nothing. He shouldn't be throwing stones. He's certainly in a glass house. He's done some very unusual stuff over the years, hasn't he? I
This
mean,
guy, what he's abusive to his wife, and this guy, you know, and that's the thing. Onision publicly, on a regular basis,
mm,
shows everyone, openly admits how much of a horrible person he is, and then the next day, as if he has no memory whatsoever, pretends to have this moral high
mm,
ground, like he's fucking Saint Anselm or something. Like he's like this, you know, godlike figure,
yeah,
right? And well, you video you're clicking right now, this total like I'm
yeah,
totally for free speech crap. You know, it's
yeah,
all complete garbage, and people can see through it. The fact is, these people who sit on the upper echelons of our society, right? These champagne socialists and the like, they
mm,
stand around and they think that everyone else is stupid because they're the elites and we're all just peasants.
yeah,
It's that typical aristocratic point of view. It's this idea that we are the enlightened ones, we're the smart ones. Everyone else are peasants, right? All these people on the right. What do they always say about people on the right? That they're stupid, that they have a mental illness, et cetera, et cetera.
mm.
It's because
Well,
they
absolutely
legitimately.
callous.
Oh
Mm,
yeah, absolutely. It's this arrogance, right? They legitimately think that we are Untermensch, you know, to these great beings, and that we should defer all our. This is why they want power so much, because they think they have the right to claim it, because we are
mm,
just, you know, we're the unwashed masses, and they're these elites that just deserve our respect and our deference, right? And so when you boil down to it, it's profound elitism. It is profound elitism. And that's exactly what Onision represents: profound, arrogant elitism. And you see the same thing in academia, you see the same thing in the mainstream media, you see the same thing in speeches.
mm,
You know, look at Barack Obama, right? He constantly refers to
yeah,
people as folks, he smiles, he laughs, you know, and he plays the moral
yeah,
high ground, even though this guy won the Nobel Peace Prize for not being Bush, and then, you know, within months was killing children with drones, right? Burning down the
yes,
weddings of innocent people, basically sparked the migrant crisis almost single-handedly, and still has the
yes,
audacity to claim he has the sort of moral high ground, right? And this is the thing: it's that
mm,
claiming of a moral high ground based on no merit whatsoever, and the fact that they're all in this big leftist circle jerk. They think that they can get away with it. But here's the thing: the people who aren't in the leftist circle jerk, they're fucking aware of this. People aren't stupid. People aren't blind. People are seeing
mm,
what these people are doing. People are seeing the evil that's going on, and they're rioting. This is why you see things like Pegida. This is why you see things like the EDL. This is why you see groups like our group, rising up in resistance to this mainstream narrative, because people aren't stupid. People aren't going to take this lying down. And I think they're starting to realize that, which is why they're being so aggressive towards us.
It's been enough of this video. It's distracting. It's been shocking to me. Well, not shocking, but surprising how fast the alt-right is rising. I mean, I've added so many people during my ban and that, which has only 5 days more left to run. I've met all these alt-right people and just general podcasters on Twitter and YouTube and other places and that kind of thing. And it's been fascinating how many alt-right that there are springing out the woodwork, and how many of them are ex-gamergaters and that kind of thing. People who are obviously have become red-pilled and become more red-pilled as time has gone on. So yes, I think though this may be very much a reactionary movement, that only makes it far more necessary.
And let's talk about reactionary. Let's talk about reactionary for just a moment, right? So reactionary is this derisive term used by Marxists meant to people against the revolution. I don't see it as a derisive term. No, I'd see it as a good thing. Of course, you would react to it. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, and that's just what this is. This is nature balancing itself out. So Marxists would love an unresisted. This is why they hate resistance. This is why they hate dissenting opinions, because they would prefer their little revolution happen in peace. Which is funny. They have all these destructive, violent fantasies, but they want it without any personal risk to themselves, which is just so R-selected. It's hilarious, right? It's so obviously like they want to have this godlike power over everyone else, but they can't even imagine someone even shooting a flint arrow at them without them completely losing their fucking shit, right? Yes. And so they call us reactionaries but that's a good thing. Embrace that fucking term. Embrace reactionary, because we're the violent reaction. We're the sodium being thrown into the water, right? We are the explosive reaction that these people hate, because they know that they can't go up against any actual resistance. They can only go against, these people don't even want to be called racist. You call them names and they completely buckle down. What does that tell you about how they are for resistance? They have no defense, right? They have nothing. Don't be scared of these people, because all they have is words. All they have is this malice, right? Once you get past that malice, once you say you're a racist, you're a homophobe, you're a reactionary, you're a transmit, just ignore it. Just say, okay, whatever. I don't, because here's the funny thing. If you call someone a name that they like, if I were to say to you, Ian, oh, you're a limey bastard, you're so British, you're English, you're British, you drink tea, you'd be like, yeah, of course I'm English, of course I'm British, of course I drink tea. That's not an insult because you're British, right? So if they actually thought you were racist, if they actually thought you were racist, they wouldn't call you a racist. The fact is, they know you're not a racist, and they know it would bother you to be called a racist. That's why they're doing it, right? So they know you're not a racist, or they wouldn't be calling you it, right?
Yeah. There would be no point to it.
Yeah, because it'd be like saying that you're British. Well, yeah, of course. Because you go up to someone who's in the KKK, right? And you say, "Oh, you don't like black people," and be like, "Yeah, no, of course I don't like black people. What are you talking about?"
No.
It's sincerely believed for 1 second that you had any sort of that evil intention in your heart, they wouldn't go on about it. Plain and simple.
They wouldn't. No. That's why we get so much less hassle from them on the alt-right. I mean, of the people I know recently who are planning to do films about the alt-right, one of them's Liz, a YouTuber I know, and the other's Croughton T, which is probably more important because he's very popular despite he's got 5,000 subscribers, so that's not too bad. And he's quite a good pal. I've podcasted with him before, and he's a really nice lad. He's a German fellow with a lovely, polite English lilt to his accent, and so he's going to be doing some fairly condemning videos about the alt-right that we've got to look forward to. I've never rebutted a video before, especially not from somebody who I like and is also really smart. So this will be very difficult, or interesting rather. Oh, look, there's good old Stefan Molyneux, before Pol and after Pol. What a guy.
Oh, Stefan Molyneux is hilarious, right? This guy is someone who founded his career on anarchism, right? And if you listen, I listen to his podcast. I think he's an entertaining fellow. He's completely
Mm.
abandoned. He's completely abandoned
Yes.
everything. It's so clear at this point. It's like, yeah, it's clear that this whole time it's just kind of, I don't know, been an act, or I don't know what it is. Maybe it was legitimate
Yes.
before, but at this point he's just completely abandoned what he's saying. He's just completely gone. Like,
And he's seen the rise of the right, and he's thought, I could be the dictator. It could be me, or something. Like, oh,
well,
poor
ultimately
bastard.
he's like a far more charismatic, far more successful right version of Sargon. He fingers, he wets his finger, puts it to the wind, figures out which way the wind is blowing, and then goes
Mm.
towards it. Because he knows his anarchist shtick isn't going anywhere. He knows his, like, because the whole anarchism thing is falling
Mm.
apart. No one in the right mind would be an anarchist, right? So he's like, oh yeah, no, this isn't working out. So he's seen the rise of Donald Trump, and he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna go towards Donald Trump. This guy, right? And here's the thing,
Mm.
he's pretty open about his past, right? I think he lies about elements of it, such as being poor, because obviously someone who's been to a private boarding school, gone to the National Theatre School, has all these great connections and whatnot, and then spent
Mm.
his career claim staking. Isn't that poor? But anyway, where was I going with this? Anyway, so Stefan Molyneux,
Mm.
um, he's pretty open about who he is, and he's had this long history of being an actor and being, this personality, right? So if you think about that, and okay, this guy, he's good
Right.
at pretending, right? So I think he's just going with whatever currents are on at the time, and I think it's great. He's really popular.
Yeah.
He's really successful. He has all this. He has what, like, he has hundreds of thousands of people following him, millions of
Yeah.
podcast downloads, millions of YouTube views. This
Yeah.
guy's great. This guy's a great voice box for
Yeah.
a lot of important things. He's charismatic. I'm like, say anything you want. I say a lot of negative about this guy, but here's the one positive thing I can say about him. This guy is charismatic as hell. Like, I can't think of anyone who's actually more charismatic. Maybe Donald Trump's charismatic, but charismatic without getting all those flints and arrows from the media. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
if he were more well known, he'd be more flint and arrowed than he is now. But
I,
he's
I can hear.
charismatic.
Yeah, I can hear the audience erupting. You're probably going to have to live by those words. Stefan Molyneux is charismatic. He
Oh yeah.
is. He
Oh,
certainly
he's
is.
absolutely charismatic. And here's the thing: he knows how
Mm.
to articulate a good point. Like, this guy is a master of argument. Like, this guy can debate, right? Like, there's there's
Mm.
there's no ends and sorts of buts about it.
No, true enough.
It's he's smart. He's a sharp guy. He's a clever guy. He knows how to argue any point, just like Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon was great at this. Richard Nixon could argue any point, even ones he absolutely hated, and you could argue it with such skill and such talent that you thought that he had been dyed in the wool from the beginning. So Stefan Molyneux, he's a master actor, he's a master debater, he's a cunning linguist.
Yes.
He's all those things that you want him to be, and I think that's fantastic. I think that's what the movement needs. The movement has plenty of great thinkers. It has plenty of great podcasts. It has plenty of great writers. It has great researchers. But the fact is,
Mm.
what they need is someone like Stefan Molyneux. Stefan Molyneux is this great speaker. He's this great actor. He's needed. He's playing his role perfectly, and I can't fault him for that. Even my
No.
criticisms, even my criticism against him, are compliments, because this guy, I have a lot of respect for him. I have a lot of respect for him. He's a smart, charismatic guy, and I don't agree with everything he says. I certainly don't agree with all his anarchist crap, but his heart, I think, is in the right place. And again,
True.
he's what the movement needs. He's what the movement needs. So why fault him? Just let him do what he's doing. Just let him do what
Yeah.
he's doing.
Yeah. I wasn't faulting him. I just thought he'd make a good Führer.
Well, I'm sure he would too.
Yeah, I'm gonna get on Photoshop later and try him and a few others out with some uniforms and just see who springs off the page, as it were. Oh, I was looking for these Ben Howe posts yesterday where he asked about what Pepe the Frog was, and everyone fired fucking Pepe's at him. But I might do that another time, I think. Right. Shall we move on to Sargon?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go into Sargon.
Yeah, let me find the original post, which is
Oh no, you
probably
just
down
passed
here
it.
somewhere.
Well, you didn't go up to RSS.
You think, but there was another one first that was.
Ah,
I had this set up earlier. I had these in different windows. This was the original one, wasn't it? I'll shrink it down a little so we can.
no,
No,
that's
that's
not
the
the original one.
Avalian one. There we are. Here we go. Yeah, it was a little bit odd. Those surveys coming out.
Okay, well
But
let's go back a bit. You know, let's. This is why I brought this up in the first place, is because, well, okay, so the thing with Sargon has always kind of it's kind of been obvious.
Oh, you broke up.
Yeah, no, I'm very just
Yeah, no, it's Sargon. He's found
no,
out. He's shutting us down.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm being DDoSed by the Sargon crew. Anyway,
Yeah.
so this guy he's clearly been in it for the money since day one. I mean, you and I, we were both in GG, right? You know, we saw him 2 years ago and how he wasn't doing anything. He wasn't in any digging groups, wasn't in any emailing campaigns, he wasn't in anything. But what he does, he was making YouTube videos. So basically he's a profiteer. He's a profiteer off war, right? So he sees these people in the culture where he sees that they're doing all this work and comments on it. He's like just like Mundane Matt, even though Mundane Matt fell out of favor. He's part of this whole, you know, entertainer circle jerk, right? Who went around and made all this money off of YouTube videos. Fact is, he did it really well. He made the right connections, he made the right videos, and he courted the right audience, mainly the Reddit atheist crowd. And he made money off of it. And he's done it off of a lot of hard people's work. And one of those hard people among dozens, like I'm not claiming all the credit for myself, but one of those dozens of people whose hard work he's sort of built his career off of is myself. And so I've taken it very personally that this guy is making all this money, making all this hard work, you know, making all this off of the hard work of others. And I personally find that, you know, it's very insulting, right? So this guy, it's the same problem I have with things like the CDC, right? They take taxpayer money and they live this high life of you know, arts and culture and so Sargon's taking all this hard work of other people. He makes YouTube commentaries on it, makes all this YouTube money, makes all this Patreon money, right? Gets all these viewers, then he gets invited to all these special conferences, all these special interviews, and he lives the high life off the hard work of others. That's been the most insulting. Second thing that has been insulting is the fact that he just plagiarizes our ideas, right? So I think about a few months ago, I think it was September, sometime in the fall, late summer of 2015, he starts suggesting this thing that looked exactly like Ultras, basically like everything but the name. And then all the while to today, and we'll get to what he said most recently, this guy pretends basically that he's never heard of us. And this is good because if people were to hear about us with any sort of like, they realize, hey, wait a second, this group's been around for years and they say all these things and they do all these things. Sargon claims never heard of it, but he was in the group for years, and a lot of what he says is based off the work that they do. That's a little fucking suspicious. But here's the thing: even his own demographics agree to this. His audience are all these these libertarian people, not like right libertarians, you know, like your Rands, your Rothbards. I'm talking left libertarians. I'm talking like Peter Joseph libertarians, who are all like, let's it's that Care Bear libertarianism where they don't actually care about economics. They just want free stuff. It's the Bernie Sanders generation who are really into this. And that's you know, his own data mine has done this. So he's created all these petitions. He does not, again, he's done no work whatsoever to actually further the cause. He just writes around the cause. You know, at least when Thucydides talked about the Peloponnesian War, he actually participated in it as a general. Right? This guy did fuck all without the military career. So this guy's reported on the work of others.
Yeah.
And said just fuck it. And then most recently, after I basically say, oh, just and you can see the post right here. I didn't put all this paranoia. I said I'm just warning people to be careful. That's all I said. Literally, just be careful. Just be careful. Be careful what information you give to this person. Just be careful. And as soon as one of the people who we removed for being one of his fanboys screen caps what's going on, and then sends it to Sargon, who then, if you want to bring up his little Twitter, little Twitter thing.
It's quite long.
just bring up the screen first.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll just
Just
get
just
over
just bring up
there.
the screen for a second.
Bing! Travel with
Right.
me
So
to Sargon's Wall.
so
Where
you can
are
see a lot of.
we?
Well, let's just look down. If you look at
I'm
if you
trying to
look at his Twitter feed, there's nothing of any substance. It's all a bunch of fake stuff. We'll get into that in a second. But you missed it. Go back up
okay.
again.
I missed it.
Yeah, you missed it. Go back up. There we go.
This is it.
So he does this classic leftist technique.
Right. Yeah. So that's the
So
exact post.
okay, so he
Um,
let's note what he's doing, right? So first, and if you look in the comments after this, he does this classic technique of not rebutting any arguments, but just mocking it, because he thinks that
yeah.
just mocking the argument rebuts the argument. It's clear what he's doing. It doesn't matter what he says. It matters what he does. What has
Mm,
he been doing? He's been collecting information on his audience. He's been collecting information on his audience and compiling charts out of it, compiling data out of it. He's been taking information from his audience and then posting the information, some of it in public. Who knows what he's doing with the rest of it in private? All I'm saying is that's suspicious. All I'm
yeah.
saying is be a little cautious. And then you look at his comments, you look at his audience comments, and they're like, haha, being paranoid, haha, Sargon. It's typical fanboy behavior.
Hang on.
It's typical
I got the two
fanboy
cats
behavior.
in.
You
Yeah.
can if you want,
It,
but
do,
it's
it does get very uh well, here's someone taking the piss. One of the people who wouldn't sign up for my survey likened it to Jews signing up with the Germans or something. That's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. Oh, they're all virtue signaling along, aren't they?
oh yeah,
If
no,
they're worried
they're all
about data mining, why are they on Facebook or even the internet? Because they
well.
are
That's not an
fucking
argument.
retarded. Cheers, pal. Cheers, pal. They act like
And
these
look at
surveys are mandatory.
and look how he's reacting. This guy, I remember the night he and I had this huge argument. The night we decided to change the name of the group. We had this huge hour-long argument. He pretended to be like this master of the group who had been like so part of it since the beginning. And he'd been a member for years. But the fact is he hadn't done much with the group. And then he basically stormed out, stayed in the group until I finally just got rid of him. It's so he pretends to be this huge champion of our cause, and then as soon as it doesn't as soon as it's not convenient towards him, he pretends like we never existed, like we're never part of his life, and that we're just this completely different entity that never was related to him in any capacity whatsoever. So now he's playing both sides of the coin. Now he's playing it both sides of the coin. And now he's going
if he's more open, then he'd look better.
Oh yeah, and here's the thing:
Yeah,
he's exposing
about this.
Oh yeah, and he's exposing himself. That's all he's doing. He's exposing himself as a liar. He's exposing himself as a turncoat. He's exposing himself as this pandering fool who takes look at all his little fanboys. It's ridiculous. They're all like you said. They're all I'm going to call it Sargon signaling. I'm on your side, and we're in this big tribe together against these evil people. And I won't be surprised. I hope he makes a video on it because it would be hilarious.
It will. It will. But he won't. I don't think he'll do much more about this because it's not a big deal and it doesn't really help him to do a video about it. Who's that? Triangle of B. And I thought my ultras don't like you, but that's going a little far now.
Oh, that's Acrex. That's Acrex's.
Yeah, I thought it would be Acrex or something. Yeah.
Oh, that's a little bit of internet drama for another day, I think. Yeah, that's for another day, I think. But to the drama that we're facing right now, right? It's clear, right? It's the people who have never heard of our group, who love Sargon. I mean, we had people in the group who are doing this too. It's like, I don't see why you have a problem with Sargon. He makes great videos. Like I think it was some guy named Stevens or something. He's like, he's like he's a funny guy. I love his videos. Why don't you like him? And I'm like, dude, we see what he's doing outside of his videos. And then he laughed like it didn't even matter. Like, and this is this cult of personality nonsense. They just go around the personality, right? And that's exactly what he's done, right? He's at the end of the day, all I hope is that people look at what he said, look at what's actually happened, look at all the data, from an objective third person point of view, right? Look at all of it from a sort of and see what's actually going on.
Yes.
It's clear that this guy who has done nothing, and I will be emphatic about that. He has done nothing to further the cause, but has instead profiteered off of it. Who has used his personality to create a circle jerk? You know, it's I can name names, I can name but people know what's going on. People see a little circle jerk he's creating, right? People can see the little group of YouTubers, the group of podcasters who all part of the same group who have done nothing, right? Most of these people who, you know, like I've been in the trenches for at least 2 years. Some would argue longer based on, but anyways, we'll just pat it down to 2 years, right? Most of these people I never heard of until they opened YouTube channels. Most of these people I've never even thought of and seen. The people who have actually done the hard work don't have YouTube channels, don't have tens of thousands of YouTube subscribers, don't have any fame. And that's why, people ask, why did GG implode? Why did it fall apart? Why did it die? I'll tell you why it did. I'll tell you fucking why it did. Right? Yeah. It imploded. It imploded because we gave all this power to these personalities who did nothing, and we said to all the people who are actually doing hard work, the dozens of people who are doing campaigns, emailing, etc., digging, etc., we were giving no credit to them whatsoever, and we were giving all the credit to these people who were profiteering off of it, who were making YouTube videos off of the whole thing, right? And so we gave all this power, and we gave all this time, we gave all this love and attention to these people, and we basically told all the people who had done the hard work to fuck off, and so they did. They listened. They fucked off, and the movement fell apart because you can't build a movement off of exposure without any hard work, right? So if it's great to have propaganda, but if you have propaganda without a state, well, there's anyway. So and because the alt-right doesn't actually have any sort of, not yet anyways, it doesn't have any sort of, it hasn't made that mistake yet. It hasn't said we're going to give all our power to these personalities, right? That's why I think it's gaining the power that it is. But here's the danger in that. As soon as we do, as soon as we let happen what happened there with what happened in GG 2 years ago, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be the same fucking thing all over again. And that's why I warn you, don't give so much credit to these people who make videos, right? Give credit to the people who are doing the work. Give credit to the people who are doing the hard work. That's all I ask. Return it to a meritocracy, right? Don't sit around and say, well, Sargon's making funny videos, therefore he's the movement. Bullshit. The people who are out there. Sorry, go ahead.
No. It sort of popped out of my head. It's gone there. It wasn't much of a thought.
But yeah, so the people who are going in and spending hours of their day, and these people have jobs. Some of them have jobs and school. Some of these people are busy, right? And they still have the time to take an hour or two out of their day and fight for the cause. And they get no recognition. They get no credit for any of their work. And so you have these fuckers like Sargon, who has people do the research for him, who has these people do all the things for him, who has his own subreddit where people submit content to him. He doesn't have to do anything. All he has to do is he has to sit behind his microphone, talk for about half an hour, edit the video, which is about an hour or two, and upload, which is another half hour. He puts 3 hours of work in a week. Oh, well, he gets all these views. He's so fucking important. No, what he does is he's networked, right? He's networked. He's built this YouTube channel and created the illusion of hard work. And that's a very simple. That's a very different thing. You can work hard to build an illusion of hard work. You can, and that takes a lot more energy, one would argue, than actually doing the hard work. But creating the illusion, but creating the illusion of hard work is very popular because what it means is you can do a version of virtue signaling, hard work signaling, to show that you're this champion of the cause. And so you have people submitting all this art, all this shit to him, even though you talk to anyone who's been in the movement for years, and other than YouTube videos, no one, I bet you, I will put money on this, other than the YouTube videos he's made and the empire building he's done for his own personality cult, other than the empire building he's done for himself and his YouTube videos, which are all self-serving, which aren't movement serving, they're self-serving. Other than those things that have been completely self-serving in nature, he has not done anything.
It's true.
And I'm willing to put money on that. I'm willing to put money on that. And the fact of the matter is, his fanboys love him for his videos, and that's about it. They don't value meritocracy. They don't value merit. They value personality, and that's all he has. He has personality, and so he can go on and have all these interviews and become this darling of all these conferences, and that's exactly what's happening. It's creating an aristocratic class that goes to meetings, that holds conferences, while we in the plebs sit here in our little bleachers thinking, oh man, they're such great guys, they're such great personalities, doing all these great things. Well, we actually do the hard work. It's completely ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. And it's no coincidence. And it's no coincidence that this aristocratic class is almost all left-leaning. It's almost all left-leaning. Because that's what they do. That's what they do. That's exactly what they do. They don't work hard. They just take credit. And that's exactly what Champagne's, that's what our opposition does as well. They take credit, they don't do work. And then they claim to be of the workers. And this is why people are like, oh, well, so, that Champagne socialism, these rich people pretty much, they're not real communism. Yes, they are. Marx was an upper middle class boy who never worked a day in his life, who sat around writing books on how oppressed people who he oppressed were. And it's the exact same thing with everyone who's in that same class.
Constantly borrowing money off people.
Exactly. And he did all this. And, at the end of the day, that's the most pure form of it. That's the most pure form of it, is exploiting people and then claiming that they're exploited and you're not the exploiter. It's this perfect parasitism. And that's all it is. It's extremely refined parasitism. And that's what Sargon practices, refined parasitism. And he is parasitism in its most refined state. Not only is he being parasitic in the most leftist definition of it, he's doing it while pretending, I'll emphasize this, pretending to fight the left. He's this perfect storm of parasitism. And that's all he is. And that's all he'll ever be. That's all he'll ever be. It's a parasite.
A perfect storm of a parasite, which is a lovely little quote. I like that. Yeah, I tend to be far more generous to Sargon because I've known him and supported his work for ages. And I would say it was quite late on that he started getting a Patreon, and that was sort of at the insistence of King of Pollers, I remember, because he hadn't bothered before and knew sort of the dangers of having a Patreon, and people would accuse him of selling out. But I think, as his politics have moved so further away, and I don't think they have stayed where he was. I think he's had to try and prove his left-wing credentials so many times that he has inadvertently moved to the left. And now I think that is one of the most subtle ways to co-opt someone, for the left to constantly come and mock his left-wing credentials so he actually moves to the left. I think that's an amazing job of co-option on someone.
Absolutely. And I firmly believe at this point he's one of the enemy. And in fact, he's actually worse than one of the enemy, because other than actively opposing us, he's pretending to be on our side. As far as I'm concerned at this point, the movement and Sargon are completely just counterposed, because his goals are so far different from where things have gone, that he's tried so hard to pander to the left that he's become one of them. As far as I'm concerned, he's just become one of them. And he can protest all he wants, and he can claim, well, I was part of this and I was part of that. No, you fucking weren't. You made videos on those things. You weren't part of it. You weren't down there in the trenches. You weren't down there front lines. You made videos on it. So as far as I'm concerned, he's just another one of them. In fact, he's worse than one of them, because all he's done is pretended to be one of us at the same time.
He spends a lot of time on Twitter, actually, but then I wouldn't say spending a lot of time on Twitter arguing with people is particularly effective advocacy or activism. It's arguing with people on Twitter. But I mean, I suppose he does a fairly good job on that, and sometimes he gets into it with fairly influential people. So there is that to be said. I mean,
sure, but here's the thing.
Totally gone his way, and it's towards the left. And that in a time where the problem is getting worse and worse and worse, so going to the left in any way, shape, or form is really not helping. Because here's the thing:
about a year ago, year and a half ago, I was saying that ultimately the war is, people are thinking, well, it's going to be a war between small L libertarianism and small A authoritarianism. That's where the battle lines are going to be drawn. I said, no, that's not where the battle lines are going to be drawn. Not at all. It's going to be the oldest fight. It was in the Roman Republic. It was in medieval Europe, and it's here today. It's that left versus right, and that's where the battle lines are going to be drawn. And that's exactly where they're being drawn. And it wasn't going to be this great mashup of libertarian right and libertarian left working against the dual evils of authoritarian leftism and authoritarian rightism. That was never going to be the instance. And I don't see why they thought it was going to be. And that's what we're seeing today. Where's the problem coming from? Where's the problem coming? Look at where the problem's coming from. The problem's almost always coming from the left. It's always coming from the same group of ideas, right? Bernie Sanders' socialism is basically what Venezuela runs off of. And look at what Venezuela has right now, right? Look at all the debt. Look at all, 2007 and today. 2007, the United States debt was half of what it is today. So within 8 or 9 years, within a decade, complete leftist control of the U.S. government has doubled the national debt. It's destroyed Venezuela. It did all these evils before in the 20th century, namely the USSR and China.
Europe.
Just I think today,
everything the left touched just turned to shit. Everything.
Yeah, and either it was today or it was yesterday. Was the 50th anniversary of Mao's Cultural Revolution, which was this huge massacre, huge destruction. Basically, what Mao did was he took all these students who he had indoctrinated in the universities and in the high schools and in all that, and he made them kill people. He took all these. He was desperate to cling to power, so he had these kids that he indoctrinated kill innocent people, and this was part of his long campaign of killing his own citizens. And he killed, I think, was it 60 million Chinese people? That's ridiculous. That's 2 Canada's worth of people. He killed 2 Canada's worth of people during his reign. Right, and so this is what leftism does. Leftism kills hundreds of millions of people, and it's still being defended today because it's a brain virus, and it's the same brain virus that's infected Sargon. It's the same brain virus that's affected countless other people, right? And it's the same brain virus that's affecting people today. That's telling people to vote for Bernie Sanders. That's telling people to vote for all these ridiculous social platforms that brought Justin Trudeau into office. It's the same brain virus, and it's the same destructive brain virus that just won't fucking die. And that's what we're fighting against. We're not fighting against this abstract ideology. We're not fighting against this abstract thing. We're not fighting for, as some say we are, people, white nationalism. We're not fighting to create a fascist state. That's not what the alt-right is about at all. Now, some are like, well, alt-right's a blanket, sure, fine, whatever. But ultimately, at the end of the alt-right, in my opinion, the definition of the alt-right is those people who are dedicated to conservatism to the point where they're not going to compromise with the left, or not going to say, look, this brain virus is okay, we should just compromise with these people and be friends with them. In my opinion, the alt-right is all about fighting those people and ending this brain virus that has killed millions of people and has destroyed countless civilizations for hundreds of years. That's what it's about. It's not about these abstract ideas. It's about a very concrete thing: saving the West from itself, ending the cycle of history, ending the cycle of violence, ending the cycle of rises and falls of empires, ending the cycle once and for all. Before communism, China didn't have the problems it had today. Yeah, it had problems. It had plenty of problems, but it was always a world power. It was always, Today it's a mess. China builds these huge cities, right? It builds these huge cities that are empty in order to pretend to have economic growth. It builds empty cities, and it artificially controls the currency to maintain exports.
Yeah.
And its imports, which most of Asia relies on, are down because of its faulty trade policies. And it's only saved itself in the last 20 years by adopting free market principles, which it hasn't kept very well. It has a suicidal policy of population control. It has an aging population, as most of Asia does, and it's dying. Yeah. Why is it dying? Why is this great empire that's been around since the Sumerians, since the actual Sargon of Akkad lived, this civilization that has been around since written history has began, is falling apart? Why? Why is it falling apart? Why? What could bring down a 6,000-year-old state that has endured countless cycles of history? What can bring it down? Well, it's communism.
Yeah.
And here's the maddening thing: People are leaving these countries. People are leaving these places. You know, Canada, for one, has a great Asian population, has lots of people from China, from Vietnam, from all over Asia, and they left because of these policies. And no one listens to them. No one listens to these people. No one listens to people who've escaped socialist countries in Eastern Europe, in Russia, in Russia specifically, who faced this for 50 years. They're the most ardent opponents of socialism today. Why? Because they lived it. They lived it. And so you have these people down in San Francisco, you have these people down in California who have never experienced socialism, who have this idea, who have read Marx, who have been told in their universities by their professors that he was this great guy. You have these people who are being brainwashed by people who never lived it, and are in love with this exotic idea of socialism. Being told by people who actually lived it, who have first-hand experience of the evils of it, telling them, no, do not do this. It is evil. Avoid it at all costs. And not only that, not only is it this abstract historical idea, it is also a very current thing. Look at what's happening to Venezuela. Look at what's happening to it. It's run out of power. It's ruined. It's run out of power. It's run out of everything. It's run out of everything. And it's about to collapse as a country, which is painfully ironic when you consider what the name Venezuela means. Venezuela was named by the explorers that found it because of the way it resembled Venice. Venezuela means little Venice. So this country that was named after the most mercantile, commercial, economically successful place in Europe it's painfully ironic. It's now on the verge of collapse, of absolute economic collapse. Within 10 years, Venezuela will be where Somalia is, because Somalia 25, 30 years ago did exactly what Venezuela is doing today. Somalia 30 years ago is very similar to Venezuela today. It adopted similar socialist policies. And what happened to it? It collapsed. And Somalia still isn't a country. It's a failed state. And that's exactly where Venezuela will be 20 years from now. Right?
The Islamists will be in there next, you watch.
Exactly.
They probably are.
And this is exactly the problem. We can get into the migrant crisis another time. It's such a big, overwhelming problem, and it's been talked to death. I don't think I can add anything new to it. But anyways.
True.
My point is that this is an evil that is well established, and the only people who push for it are those who actively ignore empirical evidence, those who actively ignore what has actually happened. And if you were to look into this, if you were to ask someone who's lived it, they talk all the time. Believe a woman when she says she's been raped. Okay, fine, I will, but you have to believe someone who's been in a socialist country. You have to believe their experiences. If you want to talk about believing people's experiences, talk to these people, talk to them, see the fear in their eyes when you say that people are trying to bring socialism to the West. These people left their countries to avoid it. These people sometimes scripted death in the thousands, leaving their countries to avoid these things. And now it's overwhelming us as well. This last bastion of humanity is being overwhelmed by this evil ideology. And I swear, as long as I breathe, I will oppose it, because I will not have this place that has been the refuge for so many people. I'm Irish. My people fled famine. My people fled war. My people fled subjugation at the hands of your people, Ian. But we'll forget that for now.
I'm also Irish as well, originally.
Okay,
so we fled subjugation from the English, and then I came over here.
Okay.
And you went over there. Yeah.
Well, I didn't. My ancestors did. But yeah, so basically my ancestors, they came to Canada because Ireland was being torn apart by famine and all that. We came here to build a better life. The Italians came here to build a better life, even though Italy isn't real. People from China, people from Middle East, people from Lebanon who have been here for 25 years came here fleeing the Lebanese civil war in the 90s. They've come here, they've built a better life, and I swear to you, Ottawa has a lot of Lebanese people. These people are the nicest people you've ever met, and I think this is why there's a lot of problems with the migrant crisis, is because people who've been here from the Middle East, who've been here for a while, are so nice and are so productive and are so part of the society that people are being fooled into thinking that every one of them from there is going to be like this. And I think that's a dangerous idea, because the people who already came here from the Middle East, from Syria, from Persia, from like I said, Lebanon, from other parts of the Middle East, have been so productive, been so good for Canada, that I think the idea is that, these are just more of those people when it's anyway. Enough of that for now. So you have these people. You have North America, which has been a bastion for these ideas for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And it's now going to be destroyed by the very ideologies that destroyed those places. And that's what I'm trying to prevent. I'm trying to prevent this place that has been a refuge for so long from being destroyed by what has destroyed the rest of the world. And that's what sparks me on, is to end that cycle of history, and not let the West fall like so many places have. And for that, I'm called all sorts of names, and I've threatened all sorts of things, just because I'm against that, just because I'm against losing this civilization when so many have been lost before it. And I'm called horrible names for it because I won't fall in line and let it happen. So that's my little rant on the subject.
Yeah, I totally agree. The Marxism is the most dangerous thing. I mean, Islam could be easily dealt with if these bloody Marxists weren't involved in fucking everything and hadn't crept their way into everything. One thing I must just say, a couple of people have mentioned that Evalian has Connor Perrin and Ethan Ralph mention it here on Facebook, and on Twitter, Atheist Eleanor has also mentioned that her channel's been shut down. So I certainly should mention that on air, as people have gone out of their way to tell us and that kind of thing, which is really nice. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for getting in touch. Any other questions? Stick them on the alt-righteous. Stick them on the alt-right ultras group on Facebook, or on my Twitter page, Ian Marcus Davis, at Davis Ian 0.
And yeah, that's a shame. I mean, this is exactly what I was hoping wouldn't happen. Would be that. This girl was mass attacked. Yeah, and this girl was mass attacked just for expressing an opinion she said tongue in cheek, right? So I mean, this is exactly what they do. This is exactly the hypocrisy that they do.
Yeah, and the crap they accused of. Yep, everyone's seen it, I hope. And that's got to be the narrative going forward on this. Look what you've done. You couldn't help yourself from fucking with a kid. Yeah, now who's the fucking internet bullies here, you wankers? Oh, and here's another one. Some Muslim scholar in Germany has been saying that Germany needs the extinction of blue-eyed, blonde-haired Germans. Look at these lovely creatures. Yes, and look at these horrible dustbin liners. We'll just watch what they're saying here in German. Being German will have a migration background in the future. This is what being German will mean in the future. No more blue eyes, light hair, and claiming we're all German. Being German also means wearing hijab, having dark hair. This is what being German means today. You're a migration researcher, Mr. Altmer. Applause from the audience. What's he going to say? Come on, Mr. Altmer. Way, fantastic. Somebody's insulting us. This is amazing. That's it. Back to the nice, clean living Germans. Lovely. That's what we want. Well, is that too much to ask for?
What I don't understand is why. And Paul Joseph wasn't great, by the way. I really recommend his stuff. Like this guy's sharp. He knows what he talks. If you haven't, like, I'm pretty sure most people have seen him at this point, but this guy is just brilliant. Just watch his stuff. Anyways.
Yes.
It's and he's brought this up himself too, actually, that everyone is allowed to have a culture. Everyone is allowed to have their own culture in this world, except for European white people. Culture. Everyone else is allowed to have their own heritage and traditions and things like that, except for white people.
Yeah, and it's always the Marxists saying this. Nobody else is. You go out to a foreign country, India, you go out to Sri Lanka or that, where the people aren't Marxists, and you say, oh, I bet you hate all the white oppressive people in America, and they'll be like, no, I've never met anyone from America. Well, why should I dislike them? And they'll be absolutely confused. But like, you'd go talk to a Marxist anywhere in the world, and it's, oh yes, those horrible colonial oppressors. Oh yes, like 200 years ago, do you know what they did in this country? Blah, 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 blah. Everyone else
which is hilarious, considering at the same time European slavery was happening on. There's a thing called Barbary slavery. If you haven't seen it, look up Barbary slavery. What had happened is these North Africans, these basically Ottomans, from Barbary refers to the Barbary coast, where you have Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia, Libya, things like that. So you had these pirates basically from those areas going all over the Mediterranean, going all over Europe, and actually raiding the coasts of North America for white
Yep.
slaves, selling them back into the Middle Eastern slave market, which, by the way, still exists.
Yep.
Uh, so you have these people
We know this
selling a
because
lot.
this is where we're going to sell all you lefties and feminists when this is over.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So you have these slavers who are of North African descent, basically selling white people into slavery, Irish people included, by the way. Um,
Mm.
you have these people selling people into slavery, and it's just never brought up. It's never brought up. Do you know why that is? And I think Stefan Molyneux brought this up. I don't know who he was quoting, but
Mm.
he brought this up, I think, not too long ago, where he said that
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember exactly what he said. But basically, he
Well,
said
I'm
something
sure
along the
one of the
lines.
reasons is that it's still happening. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I don't want them to know about it. Yeah.
and what I was trying to say is that he brought this up because the reason why it's never brought up that there was a Barbary slave trade is because then they won't apologize for it. They won't give reparations. They won't do any
No.
of these. They won't kowtow to claims of racism. They won't feel bad for slavery. They won't feel. And he was right. Stefan was
Yep.
right. These things where he basically said that the reason why Saudi Arabia won't take immigrants, the reason all these people won't take immigrants, they won't be kowtow to claims of racism,
Mm.
is because they don't feel bad for it, and because the West feels bad for what it did, even though
Yeah.
it single-handedly ended slavery around the world, it
Yeah.
still feels bad about it, and so people can call it, and this is the shameful part. And he was right. I think he was right. It's shameful to see
Yeah.
that it's a shame to see shame, even though others did just as badly and actually did worse, and didn't apologize for it, and didn't try to end it, and didn't try to
Yes, it's insane for white people to feel any guilt for this, especially as white people. Because let's face
right.
it, there were people in Middle Europe who were absolutely no way involved in the slave trade, ever.
Yeah.
Because they've just been landbound and that kind of thing. They've probably been taken as slaves many times, but they've never owned any. I think V. Monroe was saying this in one of his videos that like, oh, the Romanians, we've never ever had slaves. We're not going to pay
Yeah.
you, type thing. And he's
And
totally
that's
right.
just,
Again, here's a man who knows the dangers of communism. Yeah.
right.
So you
Well,
were
yeah,
saying,
exactly. The funny thing is about Romania is that they're one of the countries that actually has their head on straight about what's going on. Like, this is just completely ridiculous because, again, they're Eastern Europe. They're ex-socialist countries who've seen the evils of it firsthand. But
mm,
anyways, yeah, no, I've been told as an Irish person to feel bad for slavery.
yeah,
And in the same breath, those people will completely deny the Irish slave trade ever happened in order to try and make me feel bad about it. But here's the thing: there are records, there are documents, like there are
yeah,
signed documents. We have a great fucking time. We have a great fucking history of
yeah,
Irish slavery. You know, it's pretty well known that Irish people used to be slaves. In fact, Irish people stopped being slaves because the Pope said cut it out. Because the Pope finally realized, oh yeah, no, these people are Christians. Maybe we should stop
yeah,
enslaving them. And he said, look, we have to recognize Irish people as human beings. Before that, the Dutch, the Portuguese, the British, um,
mm,
all the allies of Britain, which were Portugal and the Netherlands and northern Germany and Sweden for a while, and basically that whole club were selling Irish people as slaves. And in order to make Irish people feel bad for slavery and make them pay, they're being told that they were the slavers, which is ridiculous. Which is
it,
ridiculous.
it's abusive, even.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
And that's what it
it's
is. It's not
absolute
actually about
racism. Yeah,
absolutely, and that's what it's actually about. It's not about making reparations for slavery. It's about verbal abuse. These people are verbally abusive. They're bullies. They're
yeah,
assholes. I'm gonna be honest with you. They're just assholes. And if they're gonna be verbally abusive, ignore them. Ignore
mm,
them because they're just bullies.
yeah, yeah. We do spend too much time like Twitter fighting with them, and that gets us nowhere. And they love it. They love it to bits. It's really fulfilling for them. It's affirming for them. But for us, it's just annoying, and it never gets us any. It never gets us any love. Always, we should just. Well, they say agree and amplify, don't they?
Yeah.
When they start calling us fascists, just bolt onto that and agree and amplify, and give them the real reason of what you think and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
If they're going to do that,
And just stand your ground.
ah,
That's all I can advise is just stand your ground. They verbally abuse you, stand your ground. Because as all bullies, if you just stand up for yourself, they'll stop bullying you. You
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
you just gotta use. And the thing is, I was bullied a lot as a kid in
Mm.
school, and so I learned tactics to stand up to bullies. And you just have to use the same tactics that many of you, or some of you, use to
Yeah.
to fight those bullies and to stand up to them. Just don't
Yeah.
take it. Don't take it. If they verbally abuse you, look them down the eye and just refuse to be abused. Refuse it. Because you're an
Mm.
adult. They're an adult. Just look them right in the eye and refuse to be abused. It's
Mm.
that simple. And maybe, yeah, maybe it's easier said than done. Maybe it is, easy for me to say that because I have so much experience being
Yeah.
abused, as sad
We've,
as I am to say that. But
yeah.
and it takes practice. I'm not going to tell you it's easy, but it's simple, but it's not easy. Um, it needs practice, and just and there's plenty of practice to be had because there's plenty of bullies who verbally abuse you. Just let them abuse. Like, don't let them but I mean, just let them
Yeah.
have let them spew their bullshit on you, and then refuse to back down.
It's going to be like this. There's no way I should engage with you, is there really? You're just being a verbal idiot. That kind of
Exactly.
thing.
Just shrug them off.
Yeah.
Just just completely shrug it off like it was nothing. Because
Mm.
they'll spew everything they can in their sick little twisted heads at you. They will
Mm.
say all the things that they think will hurt you, and they will try to hurt you as badly as they possibly can. And all you have to do is stand there, resist, just take it, just don't say anything, and then shrug,
Mm.
laugh it off, and leave. Don't give them the validation. Don't give them
Mm.
the validation.
Yeah. And we'll come back later and get them
Well, you don't even
when
need
they
to. You don't
least
even need vengeance.
expected. Well, the day of the rope is a given, I'm afraid, my friend. It's going to happen. Yeah. But after that, organized, nothing petty, nothing personal. Yeah. Evalion has a new channel up now on YouTube, so you've got to look for EVA Lion. Like an I don't know what I'm fucking. Anyway, she's got a new channel and it's already got 700 subscribers, so that's cool. Well, congratulations, Evalion, and I hope this one lasts longer. Um, what arseholes? What a cunt you are, Honison. I hope you walk into a door this evening. Yeah.
Well, what's going to happen is he's what I hope is what happens every Tuesday night. He's going to go home. He's going to find out his wife is with that other girl, and he's going to be sexiled. He
Yeah.
gets to sleep in the hotel tonight, and he gets to think about all the little great decisions he's made, where his wife sleeps with women, and he gets to sleep alone. So
Yes.
really,
Yeah.
you don't even really need to do anything to Onision because he's actually made the decisions in his life that have ruined him. So I mean, that's that, right?
Yep. He has, and he's done it so publicly on television. Well, on YouTube rather. He's made his life everyone else's, and then he's really fucked it up. What the hell was the point in that? Good job, Honison, mate. Good job. Thank you for sharing your misery with the rest of the world. So, a couple of people are making videos about the Onison and Evalion. Oh dear, Onision versus Evalion. It sounds like a fucking anime. The fuck?
Onision Genesis of Alien.
Genesis of Alien, yeah, fucking hell. I hope they go at each other with swords, and she's got some costume with all swastikas on and fucking armor. That'd be hilarious. And he's got this big douchey anime gay hair and a cloak. Yeah, I can see
And
it
he has
all
like
now.
and he has like a cape with little epaulets on it.
Yes, yeah, yes, and big tight trousers with kind of flary things over boots, and some ostentatious medallion with powers.
It's just like this giant gold
Yeah.
dinner plate on his chest that doesn't have any significance whatsoever.
Yeah, without my medallion, I am nothing, but with it, I am strangely a twat. Yes.
But it turns out he just bought it out at Poundland when it was on sale.
Yeah, yeah, he just did too much acid once whilst wearing it, and it's just got stuck in his head that it's special. Yeah, he's pretty special. I think we've covered the week quite well, and you've got to do something else. So at some point, haven't you?
Yeah, no, I have about half an hour before I have to be anywhere. So.
Oh, do you? Oh well, it's up to you. Do you want to bash on a bit more? I suppose we could look at one more thing.
Yeah, if you want, we can talk about one more thing.
Yeah. Any ideas?
I think we've covered most of the important stuff.
We could maybe I don't know. I couldn't find any pictures last time, but there's some guy called Ben Howe or whatever who used to be a bit of a conservative pundit, and then he's just started not being a conservative pundit so much. And he was saying, well, now I know it's true that what they said about Trump supporters, all of them are like big racist Nazis and that kind of thing. And he started going on about how bad people treat women, and he's just utterly turning into he's just coming out with lots. He's parroting actual social justice concepts. So it's obvious he's been a hidden cuck for quite a while.
Well, that's exactly what happened with Sarah Silverman. That's exactly what happened with Sarah Silverman. She was all about, yeah. I mean,
and it's happened with all of them, hasn't it? Really. Reince Priebus is probably the worst. When I look back over what he was doing over the Republican period that was supposedly going to do them all well, he just cucked them completely, and he cucked them by just playing weakly when it really mattered. He didn't even kind of do it hard. He just like said, "Oh well, we've got to appease. We've now got ourselves in such a mess that we've got to appease this middle ground of voters by having more left-wing policies." And bang, that's the slippery slope that really does end you up being vastly cucked.
And I know I'm not the only one who thinks this, but like Reince Priebus, right? It's the name Reince Priebus. I think he's only a Republican because he was alive during the Roman Republic, and he thinks that it's the same fucking thing. Because this guy sounds like this guy. If you were to read a history book and you were to read Reince Priebus was a Republican, you would think, oh, he was just this Roman senator from like 43 BC.
Yeah, or he's some mate of Rumpelstiltskin's that like comes in and helps him weave fucking cloth into gold or shit. It's like Reince Priebus and the Three Bears or shit. It's
when I think Reince Priebus, my little headcanon for Reince Priebus was that during the days of Julius Caesar, Reince Priebus was the tribune for the for one of the tribes, and he angered Julius Caesar. So Julius Caesar used his because Julius Caesar, after his assassination, was made a god. So I think Julius Caesar used his god magic on Reince Priebus and froze him in like amber for about years. And so after Reince Priebus thawed from his evil Julius Caesar curse, he went to America thinking, oh, well, basically the Roman Empire still exists.
He doesn't even realize he's not. Yeah. He just thinks it's called Washington now. He sees lots of old buildings around him. He's happy. Yeah.
Yeah, he sees all this Roman architecture. He sees a Senate. He sees Republicans. He's like, oh, wow, the Roman Republic still exists. So he joins the Republican Party, and he thinks that, oh, we're just in the fucking Roman Republic. This guy doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, and of course, he's never heard of Italy. Yeah.
Well, that's because Italy isn't real. So, he comes back after 2,000 years, speaks fluent English, because, those Romans, they had pretty good education. And he's come back as an American politician, but actually he's just a cursed Roman who made enemies with Julius Caesar. I mean, that's my theory anyway.
Yeah. Never fuck with the gods. More lefties need to understand that these days. If they were a little more God-fearing, they wouldn't have caused so many problems for their country and their own lives. Think on. That's my common filth type word of warning to the kids.
And do you see what Reince said as soon as soon as it was announced that Trump basically won the whole Republican nominee thing? He basically got on his knees and did this huge verbal blowjob of Donald Trump. It was one of the most embarrassing things. Like, dude, you've been campaigning for weeks to have this guy fucking get executed, basically.
Yes.
And now you're sitting around and you're saying, oh, this guy's great. We have to move forward with Trump. It's like, dude, no one's that stupid. Everyone saw the stuff that you've been doing, right?
Yeah, you've seen some scary polls, haven't you, Reince? Yeah, he must be pretty terrified to do that, or he's just a real big sucky cucky guy, which is more likely. But surely he must know that kind of thing won't appeal to someone like Trump.
No, exactly. He's covering his bases and doing the whole choosing. He's being pretty blatant about it, but what that's going to do is that's going to help the establishment get on side. It's this whole thing, right? It's politics at its dirtiest. So I'm not surprised he did it. But yeah.
It had to be done by them, but it's not much use at this stage. It's going to be a different Republican Party anyway, even if it does go as a Republican thing, which is kind of probable if Trump wins, which is kind of probable. Yeah. It's fucking amazing. So many wins of late, Gamergate, this, because he's going to win.
Well, let's not get too cocky. Let's remember that
True.
if we rest on our laurels, we'll get lazy and we'll get complacent. We have a long way to go. Let's not fucking kid ourselves, right? Let's not pretend that let's not pretend that everything's going fine now. There's a win here, there's a win there. That means everything's okay. No, I mean we're still in a pretty shitty
away.
Zoom out for a second. The economy is about to collapse. Governments are about to collapse. It's really bad. It's really bad. So let's not get too cocky. Let's not pretend that everything's fine.
No, nothing is fine. I shouldn't have done that. That's actually slightly shilly behavior, isn't it? Celebration and that kind of thing, because it, as you say, it encourages people to rest on your laurels. So instead, all I really wanted to do is to put a word out to the troops of thank you and gratitude for all your hard work in sharing the posts, sharing the group around, and that kind of thing, and and push.
We're extremely lucky. We have 1,300 of, I think, some of the finest souls you'll ever see anywhere in the movement. So I think I personally want to thank everyone who's been a part of the group for a while, who's participated, especially those who participated in the group, especially those who share the posts, act, live, do, just stay and participate and do things outside the group as well. I have a whole list of people that I'm keeping left that I just want to thank one day, and just because there's some people specifically that don't get enough recognition for the hard work that they do, and I think that would be good to kind of mention them sometimes. So I mean,
thank you. And thank you to everyone who bought one of my big snout bobbleheads that I crafted myself out of my own dung and varnished and painted myself as well. So thank you for everyone who bought those. I only managed to make 2 in the end, so I'm going to be returning the rest of the money. Cheers. I don't know where that came from. Shall we wind it up then? Thanks again, members.
No, thanks to those who watched this, and thanks to those who participated, and thanks to everything. I mean, it's just keep on doing what you're doing. I mean, we're in a good position right now to. I think we're making gains, we're making progress, but we're not there yet. So let's not get complacent. Let's use this as a morale bump and kind of say we're doing great work, but it's only going to work if we continue to do it. So I personally want to thank everyone who's been active, who's been participating, and I look forward to working alongside all of you going forward.
Yep. Things should start speeding up within the next week or so, as all of us will be online and working full tilt to fill the place with content and stuff, and empty the place of secret Marxists and all that good stuff that keeps our group thriving and pumping away for the alt-right. Catch you all later. I should leap back to the room now. Just let Kevin say goodbye to everyone before I turn off.
Well, goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, all. Ding. Right.